another thing that didn't quite fit in was obviously the location. Originally in the book, the Suicide Boys scene is filmed in one of the boys' houses, and it's this kind of, I imagined it when I was reading it in this very kind of American dream neighbourhood with all these, you know, one-level bungalows and their beautiful gardens, kind of Garden State, New Jersey looking. But obviously it's like this contrast because there's this beautiful house and its beautiful garden, but obviously inside, you know, there's these boys who are making a pact to commit suicide with each other. And that's how I imagined it in the film, and originally I was going to film in my friend's house, but when we had the trouble with the sound and the recording quality of the sound on the cameras, we had to do a quick change in order to get everybody together and to get it done in time, and that was which I ended up filming in the school. I thought at first that it would work quite well. I kind of like to think that the boys might meet at their local school to make this pact, because obviously it's a place in their past that probably stood out to them quite a lot because, you know, they learnt there. In the end, it didn't end up looking quite as professional in terms of the location as it should have done and could have done, which was a shame, but I guess that's one of the things that if I redid and went back to work on God is Dead again, I'd like to change. On the other hand, the audience did give me quite a lot of positive feedback. They said that the rioting scenes especially, and they were so much fun to film, were really believable. You know, they were these exciting, quick-paced, as I keep saying a lot of the film is, really exciting, really scary, if you think about it. And everybody who worked with me on the writing scenes did really well. I mean, we had a couple of giggles, and we went out to an old derelict car sales place not too far from here, and I just took a camera with me, borrowed a megaphone from our head teacher, which was good fun, and shouted at everybody and directed them about. And crazy that they quite took it so far. I mean, I managed to keep everybody in one place, and all of a sudden everybody started picking up these glass bottles from the floor and throwing them, and you've got these smashing sounds that you can actually hear on the film. And originally it was quite scary because I had no idea they were going to start doing this, and luckily it was all very safe because they were all in one area and they were throwing these bottles far away from each other. But at the time, I mean, me and my media teacher, Miss Westwood, accompanied me out to make sure that nothing got too out of hand. And it creates, because there was this kind of fear in me, oh my goodness, they're throwing bottles, what am I going to do? This is glass, could be a bit dangerous. You kind of get the same feeling in the film. It's created that little hint of reality that I think we needed. And so using media technologies while we were preparing, when we were during our research stages, was really helpful. I mean, firstly we've got the iMacs, and they're wonderful machines which allow you to probably do a lot better research than, you know, your average Windows computer would do. Quite often we use YouTube, which is this kind of social media product. Everybody uploads their videos. Quite often we use that to look at different conventions of short films. When in our really early research stages, when we were still deciding whether we wanted to do a music video or a video game or a short film, I looked up a lot of short films and I thought, this is probably what I want to do. You know, it's 5 minutes, a chunk of screen time, which gives you enough time to put your point across, and that's really what I wanted to do. So YouTube was extremely helpful. During the planning stages, it was really useful because we got to use programs such as Edexcel and Word that helped us make timetables and such, and planning timetables are really essential. I mean, in the end, whilst I was doing my media coursework, I also had a theatre studies exam on, and a lot of the time theatre studies rehearsals clashed with my media. One of the main things we used during our planning, research, editing and evaluation stages was the WordPress blogs. WordPress.com is a worldwide blog site in which you just sign up, username, password, and you start writing on your blog. You know, it could be about anything. If you're doing it at home, it could be about your music or films that you've watched or what you're doing with your mates or your photography. But in the end, we used it for keeping track of our research, and then in the end it became a very useful weapon for the teachers, because they got to keep an eye on what we were doing, because each time we did a little bit of filming or we did some photo taking for our posters, so on and so forth, we would have posted this on our blogs and the teachers could go look at it. Finally, Final Cut Express. This is a program which I adore using. I think it's so useful, and because if you think about it, back, you know, in 2000, 2001, when some films were being made, some greats, the editing companies and the editors on Hollywood films were using versions of Final Cut Express that are similar to what we're using today. And in a way, that makes up for having, you know, the less professional cameras or the less professional sound recording equipment, because you can go onto the Macs which are compatible with Final Cut, go on Final Cut, crop, edit, put wonderful special effects on, take noise away, edit your sound files, make music on GarageBand that you can put straight onto your movie, and pop it all in Final Cut Express and jumble it all about and do what you wish with it. And in the end, the editing looks really professional. You have to have your film to be as believable as possible when it comes to relating it to a film that is currently out in the cinema, or a film that you've seen recently, something that's in the public eye. And one of the things that helped our media products do this was the poster and the film review that we had to do as ancillary tasks, and it was so useful to be able to do that, because it gets a feel, you know. If you make the poster for this film that you're going to make, you get excited about it, in the same way that if you see a poster on a bus stop of a film you want to see, you get really excited about going to see it.
I thought quite well with the poster, because the poster implied that there was world disaster, and the fact it said God is dead obviously implies the cause of this disaster, but the poster was, in a sense, slightly minimalist in that it didn't suggest the cause. It merely showed an image of the world on fire, perhaps suggesting an attack or a raging fire that sweeps across the world, which could be representative of the people's rage of God dying.